All right. I actually have a surprise this time. One moment. Look at that. It's my face. All right. I figure, why not? I have it on the YouTube channel. But anyway, if you are watching from YouTube, this is Midwest Mystic. If you are watching from Twitch, this is also Midwest Mystic. And we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna get back to work on the monogame clone of Dwarf Fortress, particularly adventure mode. I may or may not leave this camera on the entire time. I'm sure you're wondering why the hell you're wearing a mask in your own home. I take online privacy pretty seriously. I actually don't have any form of social media other than Twitch and YouTube. So I've been mostly anonymous online, and I would like to keep it that way. But enough of that. Let's get going. All right, let's see where we left off here last time. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, that's right. You can't go. Yep, that's right. We added hit tests here. So I think what would be a nice feature to add is maybe, what should we do today? That's a really good question. I should have probably thought of some kind of agenda here. Alright, well, let's make interactions be a thing, right? Or maybe we'll have it so if you walk over something, you can press a button and pick it up, right? Normally in the Dwarf Fortress Adventure mode, you go up to something and you press a series of keys. I don't even know what the keys are off the top of my head. I've just been playing it for so long and I just have all of them memorized. It's just kind of muscle memory at this point. But for something really basic, let's make this @ symbol be something that can be picked up or interacted with in some way. Okay, so I think first thing we need is there is a select option on here that we've put inside the input manager. Let's see, where are you? Yeah, so we have the input manager and there is a space. So space is basically select. So we'll hook into this event, not event, but into this. Let's add a type here, a new class. What should we call this? @ symbol, because that's all it is right now. Alright, so it's going to be probably no inheritance here, although we probably are going to want it. Normally, I personally, I don't like making a really deep nested inheritance chain, but I think we need to make some kind of interactable interface maybe at the very least. So let's add that. Let's add a new here. Let's call it interfaces. We'll call it interactable. Sure, why not? And let's make it have a method that's just execute. What else would there be? Yeah, let's just stick with that for now. So void, maybe we should make it a bool. Exit. Let's just do interact. And it'll probably have to send in a reference. Oh yeah, it does, an interface. You'll probably need to send in some information like the game player, I would assume. So let's do that. Player. And this @ symbol will inherit from interactable. I don't want to have it in interface's namespace. That should do, and let's go ahead and implement this. Okay, so I feel like this thing should have some information to it. So let's make a constructor, and it should obviously, well, we don't need a texture. This whole game only has one texture. So what we need is a row and a column. So that's for sure. So int row, int column, and then let's just start with that. We're obviously going to need to add more. Well, let's see, can I create properties from this? Maybe not. Probably not. Oh, yeah, I can. Neat. Oh, I did not mean to run it. Okay. Let's just make sure we have something to call out that it was called. Yeah, return true.
Looking for a way to make some extra cash?
So then within here,
So
we can just call select.
I wanted to try it out, but I didn't have a
And normally with Dwarf Fortress, when you want to interact with something, it's either you're on it or you're adjacent to it. But this one we're going to require being physically on top of it. So I think that's the very first thing we could do here inside this @ symbol, whatever it is we want to have it do. We should check to make sure that the row and the column are the same. So this way we know it's on top of it. So let's do that. So if player.row equals row and player.column equals column, turn true, and this will be false. That should work. Let's add one to the overworld screen here. We should have multiple. I think we should have multiple. So let's do public list @ symbol. @ symbols. And then maybe on load content, let's just create a couple of them. And we'll just put them in kind of random, so we'll want it in, let's put it in 4 and 4. We'll scatter them out a little bit. These numbers, you can really pick whatever you want. And 11, sure. Actually, 4 and 20. Okay, so now we want to loop through each one of these. So then we're going to call the update. Look at is fine. So for each our symbol in @ symbols, symbol dot interact. Where? Player's not defined. Oh, it's probably underscore player. Yes. Okay. So then we can do an if. Success. That really might be all we need to do to make just some basic interaction here. So we're gonna move around. Click it, nothing happens. Or I press space, nothing happens. Walk over it, press space, and nothing happens. Okay, what did I do wrong here? So symbol don't interact. Oh, I know why. Jeez, that was stupid. Okay, obviously this needs to have a draw and an update method. So maybe I'm thinking here. That's fine. For now, let's just get something going. So draw. Sprite that. And the overworld here. Yep, that looks. What am I drawing? Okay, yeah, so I idiotically did diamond, but that's okay. Because it wasn't the diamond symbol. So globals dot texture. Then this would become vector 2. I want column times globals, not tile size, and row globals, not tile size. Dark gray works. I should really name this something else. That symbol. Okay. Then in the overworld screen, comment this out. Oh, sorry, I just realized I left that text up there. My bad. Let's see, is it gone now? Yes, it is. Okay, my bad. Let's remove this. My loop here is symbol. So we only want to do this if we press interact. So if, let's see, how do we handle it inside the player? Input action dot instance. Probably gonna port this out into their own update method. No, let's just do that now. There's no reason not to. Okay. Alright, so this needs to have its own update method. We have draw, that's good. And then in here we'll do if and that kind of defeats the purpose of having this interact method, doesn't it? Well, I'm not a fan of OOP, as I'm sure you've probably seen. We'll take notice. I'm not a purist. It has its time and place. Relax. I just personally try to use it as least amount as possible, at least in game programming. Now, with business applications, depending on what you're doing, now I would say for most cases, it's actually fine for business applications, because usually, unless it's like some massively distributed system that's handling millions of connections simultaneously, OOP is fine, right? No, it's not a big deal to have a garbage collector kick in every now and then. But when you're making a game, garbage collection is kind of your enemy. So even though these are base objects and that interface itself isn't necessarily causing issues, I'm just trying to not have that be a pattern in this. One moment. My wife sent me a picture. All right. Okay, so in here we'll do if instant input manager. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you in. Instance dot input action equals select. That should do so. Within here, we want to make sure that the player, I don't think there's any harm in us passing in the reference of the player here. It'd be cheap. I mean, it'd be better than having like a global reference to it, I suppose. It's not the end of the world. Oh, so let's do it. We can always change this up later. Oh, it's just player. And then, yeah, so if dot column equals column, player row equals row, and in here, let's just write to the console real quick. Yeah, so we have our draw, we have our update. So then we'll loop through each one of these within our world screen here. We can take out this whole interact functionality here. So for each symbol in at symbols symbol dot update passing game time and the player reference. That's good. Let's do the same thing for drawing. Mouse and sprite batch. Yeah, so let's make sure that just that bare bone. Oh, yep. Okay, what's texture is null? How'd that happen? Well, let's see. Where's that bombing out at? So how is texture null here? Texture. Well, I'll be damned. So the player, when we call draw on the player, it doesn't have any issues. Texture is not. Oh, I wonder. Yeah, that's right, because we're not setting it yet. That's, well, maybe we are. Let's go into main game. Yeah, we never actually technically set it. So let's do that. Globals.texture equals content.load. Wait, how am I doing this again? So we go into the overload screen here, and we get this one. Here we go. You know, this should actually just happen in the overworld screen, because this is the very first screen is the splash page, and the only thing that's necessary for drawing that is just the image. So it's one texture. I gotta stop overthinking this. Okay, so we're doing that now. Let's update this, and we're going to intentionally break it. Wait a minute. So we're already loading it here. How is it this is not blank? Criminy, what a mess. You know, I was trying to not be as identifiable, but damn it, I'm doing it. This is me. Okay, now I can actually see a lot better. See, I'm nearsighted, so I was going to try to see how long I could go without actually having to wear these glasses, you know, because it's just one more thing that's like, it's that guy with those glasses. Oh, let's see here. Globals.texture. We don't need to set it here because the asset manager kind of just takes care of it. So instead of putting it in the global namespace, we can just reference the asset manager, I would think. Because the asset manager will have only one instance to it. So global. Yeah, so asset manager. Texture. Yeah, that makes sense. And then within the overworld screen, we should kill texture here because I want everything to break. We want to refactor this out a little bit here to remove texture, and all it needs is position. So this is fairly inconsistent. I should be passing in row and column. We will go back. We will fix that up a little bit, but not now. Let's remove that reference here because texture should simply be able to reference it as, let's get rid of you. asset manager.instance.texture. Okay, so now we're loading it from there. Makes me feel a little better. We can get rid of you. We'll just put you at vector 0. Okay. So now, within here, I assume we're going to need to remove the texture. Huh, we're already doing it that way. Awesome, cool. So I'm going to remove it from globals if it's not already. Okay, it's not in there. Good. Let's see if this all runs. All right, there's our @ symbols. We can walk on top of them, which is what we want. I'm going to press space. And there we go. It worked, but it is spamming it. Why is it spamming it? Okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, because we're calling update, and that's just going to hit it. So let's change it slightly to public bool visible, and we want it active as well. I think that'd be good to have both, because visible and active are kind of two different things. Is active. So then, if it's active, do this. Otherwise, we don't need to waste doing any checks. So then we're going to set is active. By default, these are going to be set to true. Obviously, we're going to change that up a little. So if it's active, go ahead and do your updates. If it's row, then we want to do this where we say is active is false. So this means it should only run once. And I want to test that quick here before we make it invisible. So console.writeLine. So that's important. I want to make sure it only calls it. Oh, locked in. Okay. So go here, press space, and it only does it once. And I can't click it multiple times. Perfect. And then we're going to also set is visible equal to false. And get rid of this console and do visible. Alright, so now when we walk around, these should, and we pick it, it should disappear. And it does. So far, so good. Let's make sure we can pick up other ones. Okay, I'm spamming it, nothing bad's happening. Where's the one at 420? Oh, maybe that's out of bounds. Not impossible. Okay.
You know that big
Whatever,
detergent
good enough.
Truck is 85% water, right?
85% water. I thought I was getting a better deal
Okay.
because it's so big.
So now
If
we're
you
able
want a better
to
flavor,
interact
try
with it.
only 12% water. The rest is
Essentially
pure,
just kind of like
concentrated
pick it
cleaning.
up.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thing.
But one thing that we probably also,
Don't pay for water.
because we are wasting a cycle, right? Now, if there's just a few of these, no big deal. But, you know, if there was a game world and we were having a lot more, and especially, you know, once we start making the maps very large, that's when we're not going to want to render the entire thing necessarily. So let's change this. Yeah, so this one should have been on the screen. It should have been the fourth column, 20 rows down. Why didn't I see that one? So, okay, so we got fourth column, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, do I have these mixed around, the columns and the rows? I'll bet that's it. Yeah, let's so you see there's 5, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, what a mess. Okay, so column and row are flipped currently, and I always manage to do that. So column would be your X, so I think this has, yeah, so column, oh. This would have to be, so this is right. So this is at, because your column is your, yeah. Okay. You want column, and then row. Yeah, so this should move that one correctly at 420. So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Cool. Alright, so that's been fixed. Okay, that works. So now what should we do next? You know, and if anybody is actually watching these videos, please, but if you have anything that you want me to do next, drop it in the comments, or if you're on Twitch, drop it in the chat. Absolutely, I'm always looking for what to work on next, because this is somewhat of a very large project and quite a big undertaking. Now, it's not going to obviously have near as many bells and whistles as, you know, the Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode, but it's still kind of a large one. I mean, at the end of the day, this is kind of more like a roguelike that's using Dwarf Fortress graphics, I guess is one way to look at it. And we might actually bring in Krug Smash's tile set, because I think his is just wonderful. I almost explicitly just play with it when I'm playing Dwarf Fortress. So, okay, so I think we're good there. Now that we have picking up the @ symbols, let's create different types of objects here. So, I think we need to have, we do have to go back to having some kind of eye interactable interface, because it needs to have an update. It has to have a draw. So I hate to do that, and it's going to always have these properties. So maybe a base class is better instead of actually having an interface. Okay. So maybe the eye. Let's see. So inside here, inside core features, let's make a new folder for abstract. And it'll just be interactable. Okay. And public abstract. And this should have all of these. There's no reason for it to not. And it should have a virtual update method. Public is it abstract mode? Yeah, I think so. And if they're all interactable, no, and not everything that you interact with is going to perform this exact same code. So I think that's fine. We could have some very basic functionality once we start getting further into it, but I think for now this will work. And wait, what are you? Cannot be declared because it is marked as, oh wait, I thought you could with abstract. I can't provide an implementation in abstract. I know you can't for an interface, but see, this shows how much I know my object-oriented, as I call it, fuckery. Okay. Yeah, because I thought there was a way to have, or maybe it's virtual. That's it. Virtual. Public virtual. And then this needs to have a body implementation, because otherwise we're basically just going back to an interface. So, you know, mark this as virtual. It's not going to do anything. It's going to be up to what it's using, and I think what we'll want to is we have to define what rectangle it is, and this can just be constant, not constant, but let's put this in here. We'll go with rectangle. And then I think we want to have a constructor that we absolutely need to inherit from here. So okay, that works. Alright, one moment, I'm going to check my phone here. I'll watch that in a bit. Okay, so we have our update and draw method. And then now we'll inherit from it. Interactable. So we can get rid of all of this. And then this will be public override. To implement the constructor, which we'll just call base on it. Yep, and it sets those. Maybe trim this up a little bit. Okay. So maybe we don't need to have it here because each one will kind of have its own. It's okay. Let's just make it work. So the very first one we have row, column. I really should do column, row. I really should swap those around because I always, when I'm thinking of X and Y coordinates, I'm always thinking X first and then Y, but I'm kind of messing this up, but maybe we'll save it for later. And set to true, globals.rex dot symbol. You see, I don't think, let's take that out. I am going to take this out. We do not need to provide this in the constructor. We can just set it in the class. Because if we start getting into, what you call it? If we start getting into, man, I lost my train of thought. Okay. What was I gonna say? Whatever. Yeah, I don't want it to have this because, yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking of. Animations, because animations are going to be something that we eventually, well, not really, I mean, kind of. I think it's still good to have something that resembles an animation because there's might be a use case for it. The more that I'm talking about it and I've said it out loud, I'm starting to think maybe not. Okay, so let's set the rectangle. So rectangle can't reference it directly like this. I suppose maybe it's a bad idea to outright name something the same as the class. Alright, let's rename it. Just call it rect. So now I should be able to reference just rect. Oh, duh. That actually might have been fine. Let's get rid of view. Nah, it's not referenced anywhere yet. And then within here, we will just set that symbol. Okay. You know, and color might be something we eventually want to be able to set, but we'll leave that for now. So update this to do. Okay. Let's make sure everything looks the same and it all behaves the way we expect. Alright, cool. I'm trying to think of what could kind of abstract away into that abstract in terms of functionality, but you know, for instance, like draw, we could move this over and just call it base.draw. Yeah, it's not a big deal, it's just one line, but maybe there's going to be something that we want to change the behavior of how it works. So now inside here, we'll, if it's visible, we'll just call base.draw. Yeah, this might be better because we might change this whole draw method entirely to support, maybe to support effects. I'm not sure if we're going to do that, but in any event, all I'd have to do is update it here, and then every interactable, you know, quote unquote interactable, we'll just use this as its base. So maybe what we do now is once we have, let's make another thing. Let's pick something from the sprite sheet here. Let's use so 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's make a heart. Interactable. Let's do the constructor here, and then the rectangle. We need to specify it here. Oh, we already have heart specified. Perfect. Heart. Okay. So we'll do public override void draw. Public override void update. I mean, there's nothing to call for the base but base.draw. We will do the same thing here. So if heart is visible, and then maybe we can do some custom logic here where we don't necessarily we show a specific color based on whether it's active or not. I like that. Let's do that. So this way we're kind of just putting together proof of concept for some of these things here. And that's where we're going to call it, except I will go through and I'm going to update, for instance, so we're passing in column and then row. It's going to be painful, but I think it's absolutely necessary just because it's cleaner that way and we're being consistent. So within heart, yeah, there's nothing we need to do. There's no default update. So if is active, well, I mean, other than that, and then we will pretty much copy here, except we're going to change up a little bit. Instead, we're going to just keep it visible and set is active to false. So then let's do it like this. So yeah, this is where we can't really call base.draw, but we can specify the color based on that. breaking all the rules here.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12th.
You know, I just thought of a somewhat useful use here. Let's
a scent so fresh,
pull this
so
back just a moment.
life-changing. I had to find its source.
Interactable. We should also give it a color.
Or the retired mailman next
This way we can actually somewhat reuse it here. So we color, color.
Scent of Gain flames.
Try flings now with
Let's
special
add this to
savings
the
at Target.
constructor. No. So now this will get it. We'll have to update these to pass in the color. That's fine. Color, and then I added it here, I believe. It's visible. Okay, looks good. So then we leave this alone. Interactable and heart. Okay, so now we can just call base.draw here and make use of it, so we don't have to write it out every single time, because now this is mostly data driven, I believe. And then what we should do is make a vector 2 get position, and this will just simply return this. Now we'll just call it get position here. And then if we need to get our X and Y, we can call it from the base class, or from the actual implementation here. So now if I wanted to, I could say something like get position. And then now it'll just return it pretty much every single time. So, okay. So if is active, you know, just do base.draw, spread ouch. So this all stays the same, you know. I'm thinking maybe we can just, maybe. Okay. Oh, did I really add it to the end? I don't want that. I need to be consistent. Okay, yep, so now we have the row, column, color. Dark gray. We'll add it here and here. So the @ symbol should all remain the same. Let's make sure that's the case. That is not the case. Not the heart. I'm going to go back to the @ symbol. Let's see what we're getting here. So column and row are correct. Color, is color correct? 0, 0, 0, that's the part that doesn't seem right. So texture's good, rectangle is good. We're doing the column times tile size and the row times tile size, so the position is right. But the color, I'm not so sure what. Ah, there we go. No. Yes, there we go. Okay. So now let's see if it still works. Yep, I can pick them up. Let's add the hearts, and we'll change the color of them. You know what, honestly, we could do just a list of interactables. And that nothing should break as a result of that. Let's add a heart. And we'll put it in, let's see, so row 9, column 2. And its initial color will be red, dark red. And then when you select it, we will just simply do our check in here. Maybe we just, yeah, I kind of want that. I do want that flexibility. So if is active, color equals color dark. Because we're going to inactivate it. What should we make it? Dark salmon. Alright, so now when we select it, and it's the heart, it should show us dark salmon color. Dark red initially, and then dark salmon. Okay, so there's the heart. I'm gonna go here, press it, and look at that. It's dark salmon color. Alright. I think there was one more thing I wanted to do here, and that's to clean up passing in row versus column. It's going to be kind of boring to watch, but let's do it. So this will be column and row. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I will update this on my free time, and then I will just show where the code is at the next one, just so it's not painfully having to watch me go through and troubleshoot this. I will update the code. If it's on YouTube, I will paste the constructor and anything there. I can't really do that for Twitch, but in any event, thanks for watching. If you're watching from YouTube, please be sure to hit like and subscribe, and bye for now.